Hari Om, Ronak.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, Shanta. The thing was throwing me out. Okay, let me put the video on.
I was also thrown out once. I don't know.
Yeah, just now I tried thrice and I think Anu just put it on exactly time.
I think so, because even if I tried so many times,
Yeah.
last 10 minutes, I got very confused, and I thought maybe I lost the link or what, and I was trying between the phone and the computer, and then only now it has come through. Till then,
Yeah.
I thought I'm done for today.
That's what I was that oh, today what's happening? Hari Om, Gauri.
Hari Om, Hari Om. How are you doing?
Good, good. What about
Good.
you?
I'm okay.
Okay. Okay, so let us start. Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso
Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Adhate Sumnami Mahe
Athate Sumnamimahe
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, any questions from last time? So in 315, in the fifth verse last time, I told you that it matches up to Yoga Darshanam. Did anyone go back to check how it matches up with Yoga Darshanam? Satyena labhyas tapasa hyesha atma. No, okay.
I just want to ask you, Satyam Sadaiva, it wins. So why has to emphasize that Satyam is going to win? And Satyapatha, the Devaya, Deva Marga, Devayana, what exactly it means? So whatever is that we see, we have to be, that is the truth, what we see. It could be true. What we see, it could be true.
And what you see is true if there is no other extenuating circumstance. For example, if you are hallucinating, then what you see is not true. If you are seeing through some obstruction, some kind of a veil is there in front of your eyes, then it is not true. So, so what is true? You have to know that this is true. So first, you have to know what is true, what is the truth. Then you have to believe in it. Then you have to say that this is the truth, and then you have to act accordingly.
See,
So,
objective truth and subjective truth and absolute truth, there are three different truths.
so give me an example of subjective and objective.
For example, objective, for example, this is the, sorry.
First, you give me the absolute truth.
Yeah.
Then we will talk about subjective and objective part of
This
it.
is the object.
Okay.
The pencil is there. And I say this is the objective, this is the truth, the pencil is there.
So this is the objective truth according to you?
Yeah, this is according to it. No, the object itself is true. This is the pencil as given, the name has been given, and this is the object. And but what
No,
happens?
so which truth is that? Is that absolute, objective, or subjective?
But this is not absolute.
So what was that? Was it objective?
Yeah. So this is the objective truth. And subjective is
No,
there.
objective doesn't mean related to an object. Huh? Objective means that which is not biased. So
Correct.
that is
So-
considered objective. And when it is biased, you call it subjective. That I think it is like this. So I think something about what you are thinking. That is a subjective truth only because I can never know what exactly you're thinking. So therefore, it is uh, only subjective. It is dependent on the subject. And objective is supposed to be equal to absolute
for
truth.
everyone.
Absolute truth.
Hmm.
So that the pencil exists is a absolute and objective truth. There's no bias about it. Now, the related to this, I don't know, subjective could be that the pencil has a point or doesn't have a point. Now, I may say that it has a point. You may feel that it is a blunt pencil. So, this is a subjective thing. So, that part we can debate about, but the fact that it has some point is an objective truth. The description of that point can be subjective between the two of us. Okay. So, this is the difference between subjective and objective truth.
Subjective and objective truth.
But this is because of a shortcoming in us. So, as human beings, and because of the senses that we have and their shortcomings, we can only go so far to the truth. In your case, in the pencil point case, it is only a question of relativity. The what the pencil is, if we can measure that point, then we can come to an agreement that okay, that point is 0.1 millimeter thick, and that will then become an objective truth. So this subjectivity part is
Depends on our perception.
something which is personal. No, which is kind of personal, which is dependent on our experiences and on our lack of understanding. So all those kind of things play into subjectivity. So those things apart, the truth is well defined. The fact that you have this pencil and it has a point of 0.1 millimeter, that is well defined. So that we call as truth. And the subjective part is considered as a opinion. Okay, it is not part of truth or whatever. Now your opinion is a truth. For you, it is a blunt pencil. And for me, it is a
Sharp pencil.
it is a sharp
Pointed
pencil.
pencil. Yeah.
So our truths, in this case, our opinions may be different, but the fact that we have this opinion is a truth. So there again, we run into an absolute truth which is there. So now, when we are talking of the truth here, Satyameva Jayati, then there we are talking of absolute truths.
Yes.
We are not talking of opinions and subjective truth.
Or objective.
So that objective or absolute truth is absolute. And if we don't know it, which is also a possibility that we could be ignorant of some particular truth, then it is our job to find out in certain cases. We obviously cannot be omniscient and know everything about everything. But certain things like how we should behave, what is our dharma, that is our duty to find out what it is. So, the importance of this truth, as I have written in my commentary and told you last time also, is that truth is the basis of all behavior, even worldly behavior. And if you don't have a truthful interaction with somebody, then that interaction will not last very long, because there is so much suspicion and doubt in that we cannot have it for a very long time. So it is best to have truthful interaction with people. But for worldly people, always there will be some concessions which are made. It is assumed that they will be performing some adharma along their way for whatever circumstances which are there. Some exigencies arise which worldly people have to face. So while it is accepted that they will perform adharma, that doesn't mean that they will not get a consequence of it. So to avoid that consequence for the seeker, it is said that it is absolute, this requirement of truth. They have to know the truth, they have to speak the truth, and they have to behave according to that truth. They cannot deviate from that. And that is why you have all these granthas which tell you what is the truth, how to find out what is the truth. Otherwise, we could all go in our separate directions based on untruth.
Is it possible for us in this world to have a divine path and all?
Divine?
Divine path. No, the absolute truth all the time, to say the truth and all. Is it possible? No. In this world.
For worldly people, it
not
can be
possible.
difficult, yes.
Yeah.
But that is more because of circumstances. Somebody asks you, how is this dish which I have served you? So then it sometimes becomes difficult to say that you didn't like it at all. So you say what we call a white truth and say, no, it's very nice. So this is what is allowed for worldly people. But if you are a sage, then if you don't like that dish, you are supposed to say that I don't like it.
So Devayana mean
Okay, Devayana is the path to moksha. Actually,
okay.
if you go back to Prashnopanishad, you will find that there are two yanas which are there, Pitrayana and Devayana. Pitrayana goes to rebirth, which you again have
cycle of birth and death.
Yes. So that is Pitrayana, and this Devayana is the yan by which you become a Deva. Deva being a word
after
used
that,
for
no rebirth is not there.
rebirth is not there.
Okay, got it.
Dev is a Muktatma.
What is correct, Uttara? The Satyameva Jayate or Satyameva Jayati?
So Jayati, according to me, is the correct one, Shanta, because as I told you, this Atmane Pad and Parasme Pad, that is the difference. This is Parasme Pad, which means for others, and Jayate is Atmane Pad, which is for myself or whoever is speaking.
Okay.
So since Satya wins for the person who is behaving in an honest fashion, therefore it is not winning for itself. Therefore, it should be, according to me, this is the correct version. Satyameva Jayati.
Jayati.
Yeah.
Because mostly outside what we have heard, earlier and all that is Satyameva Jayate.
Yeah. So actually, I had raised this in one this Sanskrit Vidwans group. The group of Sanskrit teachers and so on. So I had raised this issue that why has this been taken as Satyameva Jayate when it is clearly Satyameva Jayati.
Mm-hmm.
So they all got very angry. And and then somebody wrote to me personally that there is another version which says Satyameva Jayate. So I am telling you also based on Radha Krishnan's, right? I am using Radha Krishnan's book as well, in which he has put a note that should it be Jayati or should it be Jayate? He has himself put. So even at his time, there was a controversy, and at the time when they took this as the motto, they accepted some particular version which said Jayati, I presume, because this Vidvat Parishad, where I raised the question, they were not even ready to answer how it was taken on, based on which version. They really took offense. I don't know why. Okay, so I would recommend those of you who have studied the Yoga Darshana to go back and look at the yamas and niyamas and see how they are fitting with verse number 315. Okay, then we can maybe discuss it next time. Okay, then since you don't have any other questions, I have a question for you that based on last class, whatever we studied, how do you purify the buddhi?
Through tap,
Sorry, tapa. Okay. Then
through tap
anybody else?
and Ishwar Pranidhan.
Okay, not Ishwar Pranidhan, but through tapa and jnana. So in this eighth verse itself, you can see jnana prasadena vishuddha sattvaha. Okay, so in fact, jnan is the most important, and jnan is knowledge of truth. Okay, more than anything else, jnan is the knowledge of truth. And tapa is to a limited extent because you don't excite yourself. To that extent, a lot of the yamas and niyamas do shodhan of your buddhi. For example, satya. Satya also leads to the buddhi being purified. But the main purifier is knowledge, right knowledge. Okay, so let us move
Ma'am,
on to
I
the next.
have one question.
Mhm.
More than a question, it's like a contemplation wherein our scriptures have repeatedly said that the Satya and Tapa are the kind of foundations for walking on the path of moksha.
Hmm.
Now, worldly people, as you said, they have to come across with the situations where they might be honest, but they may not be truthful to the fact. Right? Factually, they may not be able to correctly represent their situation or their whatever they are doing. So they have to sometimes tell a lie or sometimes deviate from the path. So most of the time, what I have observed, the people get into aparadh bodh, like into guilty consciousness. So what does our scripture suggest on them? Uh, is that aparadh bodh right thing to get into, or how that person should come out of that aparadh bodh? Like
So for guilty conscience, actually, our scriptures, particularly Manusmriti, advises you to have to do prayashchit. Prayashchit is repentance. So based on the level of guilt which you have, level of the crime which you have committed, there are different levels of repentance which are there. Okay, you can see that even in Christianity this thing has been taken, and they do a confession and then a repentance or something. In Manusmriti, the kind of repentance, the prayashchit which is given, can be very very high in extreme cases. So that is the path which is recommended, that you should do prayashchit, something which at least we Hindus, I think, hardly do now. We might do it within ourselves in some way, but otherwise, like not having food for a day, or not having water for half a day or something like that, these are the kind of things which are prescribed for prayashchit.
but this is for something which for a crime kind of situation. But I'm talking about the situation which is usual,
So
very
this
everyday
is
life.
crime only. You're not speaking the truth is crime. So you can call it a minor crime if you like, but
Uh,
by crime I mean anything which should not be done, which has been done.
But I'll just give you a situation, a very common situation which is often faced.
Hmm.
Let's say a boss or a parent who is not very, uh, you know, who is kind of like, what to say, doesn't have a patience for a project to get complete. So he keeps on checking, okay, have you done this? Have you done this? So sometimes we say, yeah, everything is in control and uh, I have achieved this level of completion in the project. While this may not have been done, but if you say the truth, he unnecessarily put a pressure or say, okay, you have not done, basically creating a mess out of the environment. So here a person has to say, okay, everything is in control and you will get the project by time. So I don't know if this situation is telling a lie, or would you call it just a.
So if you are 100% confident that you will not be able to achieve the job within the given time, and if you are telling this to your boss who has a right to know whether when the job will get completed, then it is your duty to actually tell what is the correct thing. You are telling a lie because you want to avoid some bad blood,
reprimanding.
reprimand, or some bad blood you want to avoid. Okay, so that is your weakness, and that is leading to this crime, if I may call it so, being committed. So always this is a weakness in us why we do certain things. Just please excuse me for a minute. Yeah, sorry. So the thing is that you will not be able to uh, do the correct thing when you are weak, when you are not able to handle that reprimand in this particular case. So that is why you are taking this easier course of action. And that is why I was saying that for worldly people, it becomes very difficult to stick to that very, very narrow path. But for seekers, there is no option. They have to walk on that knife edge. So even for seekers, it will not be easy, even though they might have left the world and now they are not really answerable to anybody. Still, there are always situations in life where telling the truth or doing what you think is correct has a difficulty which is attached. That is always there.
Okay, thank you.
If it is under control, it will be done in time, no, Ronak. So you saying it is under control, probably you are telling the truth only. If you are confident of doing it in time.
So he is not. That is why I put in the caveat in the beginning that if you are confident that it will not be done in time,
If it
if
is not done in time,
you
you
are
will
not
pay for the
sure.
repercussions any which way.
No, but his boss is asking him.
I'll just take a, for example, let's say this army operation that our country took, and now as a prime minister, he cannot tell every truth about the operation. Like like we might have lost some planes and all, but if you tell the truth, you lose the confidence of the country on yourself, and that way.
No, there is a principle of need to know. So need to know is very, very important in such very, very serious issues. So the janta, the public, does not need to know certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that is why I said that if the boss is the one you are answerable to for this piece of work, then only this question arises. If some friend of yours, one colleague is asking, "Will you complete?" You are not answerable to that person, and that person need not know. So you need not tell. That is easy. So
But in
the
No,
fact
but
case
that
of
if we have to tell and we tell lie, then
it
that
is
person will not know.
your weakness, and it is incorrect, and there will be a consequence which will be attached.
There was one shloka, I think long ago. Satyam bhruyat, priyam bhruyat, na bhruyat satyam apriyam.
Bruyat, yeah.
Na,
That is Manusmriti.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
then it says, I think, Satyam na no, priyam na anrutam bhruyat, esha dharma sanatana, something like that. So
Thank
probably
you.
that tells.
Yeah, yeah.
थैंक यू मिस प्रशांति मिस उत्तरा जी मैं भी यही पूछना चाह रही थी ये सत्यम वदम प्रियम वदम बोलते हैं तो उसमें
Bruyat,
वो
yeah.
डायलेमा हो जाता है तो हाउ डू वी डील विद दैट सत्य
So
बोले कि
this
प्रिय
No, that only
this
means,
shloka gives you the, takes you away from the dialogue, I guess.
no. That gives you the other counterpart. So the Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat, it says speak the truth and speak what is good. Now that good, I will, okay, just let me complete it. Speak the truth and speak that which is good. Don't speak that which is not good, and don't speak that which is truthful but hurtful. And don't speak something which is untruthful but pleasant to hear. So even that is considered that
Right.
untruthful and pleasant to hear is this category which we are discussing right
Correct.
now. Yeah,
Priyamna Anrutam Bruyat. Yeah.
yeah, priyamna nritam bruyat. So this both are not acceptable. That's satyam bruyat and priyam bruyat.
Yeah.
You have to understand it this way, that you should speak the truth if it is pleasant.
Yeah.
Uh, and by pleasant, actually pleasant is a misnomer.
Make it palatable for others to hear.
Not to
Right?
hurt
No,
the
no.
person's
If
feelings.
it is for the good of the other person,
Okay.
that is called priya. Actually, it
Priyam
is not
Bruyat.
pleasant in the sense that it is good to hear. But like in this particular case, the boss needs to know that the work is not going to be done in time. There is nothing you can do to make it palatable or easily digestible. It is a fact that needs to be conveyed. So, however unpleasant it may be, it is for his good to know that if there is some action which he needs to take, he needs to escalate the matter or whatever. Uh, it is for his good to know, and that good is what you have to see. So, the good of the listener should be kept in mind when you are speaking. The words should not be only for yourself, they are finally for the audience. So, if it is for the good of the audience, you should say it. If it is not for the good of the audience, don't say
Not
it.
But if it hurts somebody, it is like, it is truth, but it hurts people feeling, they don't want to
So
hear the
that is what you have to see, if it is just a hurt of the feeling, or is it a hurt which is going to translate into something big. For example, in Ronak's example, that is not a hurt of the feeling, it is a problem which might blow up. So it is a bigger thing which needs to be exposed. If it is a hurt of the feeling, better thing is that you don't say anything, you can just smile. If the person is asking, is this dish good, it doesn't matter whether you like or don't like. The dish has been made, you have eaten it, the other person has eaten it. So just smile and let it pass. So you need
Yeah,
to.
so I'll talk about the specific example, the biggest thing, that is, Murti Puja and the. So if we say something, people might get hurt that we have this faith, we believe in this. What is your problem? I mean, we can't say, ki, this is not good, and that hurts people's sentiment. So should we just keep quiet and mind our own business?
So, when you are in a situation where, number one, is it your duty to correct the other person or not? So, it may be your duty, it may not be a duty. So, you have to consider that. Second thing, is the person in the frame of mind to listen to you or not? There's no point in wasting your breath when the other person is not listening to you, is not going to change their way of their behavior based on what you are saying. So you have to consider that as well. If the person is listening to you and your words will make an impact on that person, then you should say what you believe in. And to even in communal issues, in societal issues, it is a good idea to point out what is right and what is wrong. However, you have to look at the forum, you have to look at your own standing in that forum. If your words are not going to make a difference to the audience, there's no point in saying anything.
Thank you.
Recently, the convention, the Yaja ashram where I went, a person came. He told me a similar thing. He told me that, Ronak, I have to attend this program for Yaja and Ved Pravachan. So I have to tell a lie to my boss. If I tell him that correctly that I am going for Swadhyaya and all, he would not allow me leave.
Yes, this is a problem we face in corporates actually, because people are
They
so
don't.
they want you to be like them, you know, they want you to be their clone. So they cannot accept the fact that you are a different person with different priorities. That is usually an issue. Okay, let us go on to the ninth shloka now. एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यो
एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यो
यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश
यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश
प्राणश्चित्तं सर्वमूतं प्रजानाम्
प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमूतं प्रजानाम्
यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा
यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा.
Okay, so far we have been talking about God and finding God. Now the sage speaks about Anu Atma. Anu means small. You all know Parmanu is the atom, because it is small. So Anu means small. So it's a, now we are talking of the soul and not God, because the soul is something which is minute, which occupies no space. It is not material, and it has no length, width, breadth. So eshaha anuhu atma chetasa veditavyo. This small soul has to be known through the mind, through intelligence, cheta, which is same as chitta. Yasmin pranaha panchadha samvivesha, in which the 5 types of pranas are present. The 5 pranas pervade that. Pervade what? The soul. So the pranas cannot pervade the soul, but they are connected to the soul. That is all that it wants to say over here. Pranashchittam sarvamutam prajanam. All the praja, all the beings have chittas in which are pervaded by pranas. So this is actually the real relationship, that everybody has a brain in which the 5 types of pranas are present. Now see, these pranas are life force. Okay, so all movement within your body is linked to one prana or the other. Our ancients, they divided, split the 5 pranas based on the function that they were performing. Uh, for example, Saman was the one which was involved in digestive juices, and Vyan took it all over the body. So, based on a very top level functional distinction, they had split the pranas into 5. Now, if you see within the brain, all the neural activity which is there is considered because of prana. That is also a movement which is there, movement of electricity. So that is also prana. Then fluids reach the brain which provide whatever succor is required to the brain. They remove the excreta, the excretory products which are produced as a result of the activity of the brain. So that is your saman vayu, apan vayu. So all those activities of the pancha pranas occur in the brain as well. So that is why it's saying that the brains of all beings, all living things, also have all the 5 pranas pervading the brain. Yasmin vishuddhe vibhavatyesha atma. When that brain, when that buddhi, I should say, not brain, but that buddhi, when it becomes pure, then this soul, it exists in a special way. Vibhavati. It exists in a special way. So, what could be that special way? That is the question which I had asked you last time. Just now, when I asked you, how do you make the buddhi pure? which had occurred in the 8th verse. So when the buddhi becomes pure, what we mean by that is that actually it stops hindering the soul totally. So the thoughts which are present in the buddhi, they totally disappear. They are no longer there. That is what is said in Yoga Darshanam as Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That all the movements of the mind are stopped. That is when your mind actually becomes perfectly still and pure. So when we reach that state, we now start seeing the soul, which was transparent to us till now. We were just looking outside. Now, when we close everything, close all the shutters and the windows, and even the mind, we are able to shut down completely. That is when we start seeing ourselves. So that is how the Atma Vibhavati comes into its own. It was existing so far, but it was connected to the body. Now it starts seeing its own entity and starts existing like that. Okay.
I have one question, Atraji.
Mm-hmm.
So the prana, you said it kind of pervades the atma, the soul, right?
In the second line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, does the soul supersede the prana also? Prana is related to
So
the
number
sukshma
one,
sharira, right?
sorry, what's the
Prana is related to the sukshma sharira.
Sukshma Sharira as well as the gross too. It does get translated.
Correct. I mean to say, prana is in your and it comes when you take birth again, it comes into your sthula sharira also. But soul supersedes that also, right? When you are a muktatma, you are not even connected to the prana. Then how can it pervade the soul? Soul pervades the prana, right?
Soul also doesn't pervade. That is why I am saying over here that in the second line, you must only understand it as connected to. And that
Okay.
too, that connection is, as I've told you, a synapse, like between two neurons. It is
Right.
connection
Okay.
with a gap in it. So you are never stuck to this subtle body as well.
Okay.
The subtle body also has a gap between the soul and itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So the second line which is there is only talking of a connection. You can call it a weak connection or a strong connection. It is a connection, but when we see it in the third line, then that is actual pervasion. Okay, and that is actually, since you are understanding it correctly, that is the gross prana which is being talked about here.
Okay.
While the second line is talking of the subtle prana, as you are rightly saying.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just wanted to clarify on that. Okay, thanks.
Ma'am, can we say that this is a further explanation of how we get Vishuddha Sattva from Jnana?
How?
Like, because here it has been said that with the help of Chit we get to know Atma.
Correct. But how is it explaining how to make the chitta shuddha?
Because Chit is Jad, right? So Chit doesn't see Atma. It Chit, through Gyan we help Chit get prakashit and then we see Atma. That's how.
So you are saying this verse is explaining how to make the chitta shuddha, no? So what is the way in which it is telling that you can make the chitta pure?
No, what is the way through which we get to know Atma? So that is what I think this shloka is saying.
No, you are confusing the cause and the effect. So the cause is the shuddhi of the chitta, and the effect is seeing the soul.
So,
Okay.
So you have to first make the chitta pure, of which we the way to make it pure we saw in the 8th verse. We also saw a bit in the 5th verse and the 6th verse, but primarily in the 8th verse we saw that jnana prasadena vishuddha sattva. Okay, so then now this is explaining that when your sattva becomes vishuddha, the effect is that the soul starts seeing itself. Okay, and this is also not talking of a state in which the soul has gained complete enlightenment. You know, there is a path to enlightenment. So you start seeing the soul, but firstly, you will see it only glimpses of it. Then you will start seeing it for short periods. Then those periods will lengthen out a bit till you will reach a state of final enlightenment in which 24 by 7 you will be aware that you are different from your body. That is the final dharma mega samadhi, it is called, in which there is now no linkage between the soul and the buddhi. So this connection with the buddhi is lost or is weakened in a gradual form. So these two verses which now we are going to read, the 9th verse and the 10th verse, they are talking of the initial phase, okay, in which the buddhi has just been purified and now the soul starts seeing itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now let us look at the next one. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati
Yam
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 lokam
lokam
manasa
manasa samvibhati
samvibhati
vishuddha sattva kamayate yanscha kaman
vishuddha
Vishuddha
sattva
kamayate
kamayate
yascha
yanscha
kaman
kaman
tam tam lokam jayate tanscha kaman
tam
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 lokam
lokam
jayate
jayate
tascha
tamscha
kaman
kamam
tasmadatmajnam hyarchayet puti kamaha.
tasmadatmajnyam
tasmadatmajjam
yarchayet
rachyate
bhuti kamah.
bhutikama.
So now this gives the siddhi of attaining that state. Even in Yoga Darshanam, we have a 3rd chapter, Vibhuti Pada, which gives various siddhis. So something similar to that is being talked about here. And it says that when the person reaches that state, when they start seeing their soul, then whatever lok, uh, I will just tell you what is lok. Whatever lok the mind thinks, the intellect thinks of, uh, or whatever desires are desired by this Vishuddha Sattva, by this person who has a buddhi which has been purified, then tam tam lokam jayate tansha kaman. Then each of those loka which this person thinks of and which each of the desires which this person had, they come true, they are achieved, attained. Tasmad Atmajnam he archayet bhuti kamaha. Bhuti kamaha is bhuti is Vaibhav, lordship. So whoever is desirous of lordship, of control over things, then that person should worship this person who is an Atmajnam, who knows the soul, who knows his own soul. That is the person this person should go to and serve. Worship in Sanskrit does not mean that you pray to that person as a god or anything like that, but worship means you honor that person, you serve that person as a guru or whatever. So that is archana. So you have to do archana to such a person. Now what is meant by this loka? Loka, as I have been telling you throughout this Upanishad, it refers to the body which is occupied by the soul. So same thing is true over here. The body which the soul wishes to occupy, the soul can potentially get that body. That much uh, control it starts having on its own destiny. Slowly, slowly, as the soul starts to gain knowledge, God also lets loose the strings. Just now, just as from an earthworm or from an even smaller algae or the unicellular life to human beings, there is an independence which actually you will see is increasing. So if a paramecium can do just moving around here and there and solving certain things, a human being can cook their food, they can go and hunt their food, etc., etc. They can listen to music, they can do maths and send ships to Mars and Jupiter. So the independence in actions increases from the person who is lowly, a soul which is very, very low, and a soul um, which has done a lot of good deeds and therefore has attained the human birth. So you can extend this only if you extrapolate it. If the soul which is within a human being is able to overcome this connection to the body and gain knowledge enough to start seeing itself, then God loosens the reins a little bit more and he says, okay, you see where you would like to take birth next, in what form, and then he will most probably meet all the conditions which the soul asks for. Similarly, the soul can ask for other small small things which it will get. You can
Isn't
call
there a
this
contradiction?
miracles or whatever it is.
Isn't there a contradiction here, Uttara? When your mind is purified, why do you want to desire? And then why do you say that, you will get prosperity? It's not something that the mind should be desiring if it
You
is
are
pure.
absolutely right. You are absolutely right. There is a contradiction in this verse, and it is not clear why this verse is here, but it is. And actually, it is a siddhi which is mentioned in Yoga Darshanam as well. That once the soul starts seeing itself, then a lot of things it is able to do. Like it has said, it can walk on water, it can float in the air, and so on. So this soul has overcome desires, but it has not overcome all desires. That again is a gradient, it is not that only when they are 100% zero will you see the soul. You would have got rid of most of your desires, but some one desire is still pending, or some 4 5 desires are still there. They are relatively small desires. So for example, brahmacharya is out of the question. If you are not following brahmacharya, if that desire is not lost, then you are out of the reckoning. But you may have some small desire that I want to wear clean clothes. Okay, that can will not stop you from attaining this much enlightenment. So those kind of desires will stay, and maybe you might even have some desire that I want to address the king and tell him about the truths of this. A lot of sages went around preaching to the kings. They sought out kings and they used to preach to him. In so many Upanishads we see that they actually went to the king's darbar and they taught the king what was the right way to do. So that was because he had a desire that whatever knowledge I have gained, I need to share it with the king. So these kind of things, few desires which are not very, very, very bad, not clawing kind of desires, I would say. They are not really attachments and not really anything big, but they are minor desires. Okay, so that is what is being talked about here. So it is also insinuating that person who is looking for completion of a lot of desires, who is looking for also masterfulness, masterliness on controlling even creation, then that person should actually go to this sage and learn from this sage. The sage can himself wish for him, which I think is not meant, but some of the commentators have said. And there are some examples in, say, Ramayana, Mahabharata, where the sage wished for something for the king, and it happened for the king. Like what, winning in a battle or something like that. There are some examples of that. So yes, this verse, you are right, it is not 100% to be read the way it is written. It is to be taken with a pinch of salt.
Uh, and it is also said Icha is a ling of Atma. So is is this verse trying to differentiate between Icha, which is only of Atma, and Icha, which is arising out of Atma's connection with the body? So all the Icha desires which arises because of connection with the body should be surrendered, and then whatever the pure desires which are only of soul can get fulfilled. Can we say it like this?
So even those desires which are of the soul, for
Hmm.
example, this soul obviously has come so far because it is looking for mukti. It cannot be met directly as is. The level of enlightenment which the soul has reached at this point, it will not get that enlightenment. And we will see in a following verse where it says that God will decide that when the person is ready for mukti. That is not in the hands of the soul, and that icha will not be completed by this. So this here, what is the karma which is being talked about is for some worldly thing only, some worldly desire. It is not about a desire of the soul. For example, if the soul wishes that I want to know all the Vedas, which is Jnana, as I've told you, is a desire of the soul, it is not of the body, then that is a desire which probably, see, I am guessing here, I myself uh, am not helped by the commentaries and I'm not a sage enough to be able to tell you. So maybe that desire can be partially met, as we see from Yoga Darshan, your Ritambara Tatra Prajna. So your Prajna becomes capable of holding a lot of knowledge, and so you can absorb all that kind of thing. So this here in these words, you must understand it as worldly knowledge only. Worldly desire, worldly desire.
Maybe I have a couple of questions or points to make, and also sidebar question, you can say. One, I think the part where what you said just early on, like you would have the realization of the soul partly, and then it becomes viveka kyatira aviplava. So maybe when you have this part realization of the soul also, there also the Vishuddha Sattvam, your mind is in the, it is probably pure, but yet there is once in a while that, you lose touch with your soul, and that's when you have these desires kind of creeping up within you. And that was something that I thought. And one other thing I remember long ago, I think when I was doing Yoga Darshana with you, you said soul is also bipolar. Like, as much as it wants moksha, once in a while it does get attracted to the
Yeah,
worldly joys
correct.
also. So probably unless that aviplava viveka khyati happens, still
Correct.
a part of it is desiring something that it is kind of not
Yes.
to still
Yes.
lose the connection with that.
Exactly. That is what I'm trying to say, that that reduction in desires is also a gradual process. It does not happen 100% all of a
Correct.
sudden, and you don't gain enlightenment when it has become 100%.
Correct.
Some desires remain, and you will already your effort will start paying out, and you will start seeing glimpses of your soul, which will further propel you into doing more meditation and searching more for yourself. So that should become, if you are a very cautious and sensible seeker, to become a virtuous cycle. So you can take that effect from the meditation and translate it into um, more enlightenment. So that is what actually in Yoga Darshan Patanjali says very clearly, that don't get swayed by these cities.
This,
Don't
yeah, I
become
remember that.
satisfied with them. That okay, now I am able to do all this. For example, this I am able to control my next birth. I am able to get what I want. I wanted to have paisam here, and I think about it, and there it is in front of me. So what more do I need? I don't need moksha. I have got what I wanted. So
Yeah.
it should not stop at that stage, but you have to proceed. So this is showing an intermediate stage.
Now the sidebar question. This is just curiosity going wild.
Yeah.
D- have you read or come across where it says there are births which are even more, beyond the human, or this is the, ultimate
So
birth
there,
in a
see,
soul's energy, in a soul's journey? Sorry.
in Manusmriti itself, you will find that the categories of beings consists of one Tiryak, which is
Yeah,
animal, then
correct.
Manushya,
Yeah.
then Deva.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, so Deva, which one is the one which is talked about in Devayan, which is the Mukta Atmas. And
Mm.
then there is this Deva Yoni, which is even in the Vedas, it comes in several verses where Deva and Manushya are separated out.
Mhm.
Okay. And as I've told you that in the beginning, when the Vedas were revealed to the sages, then those sages
Yeah,
were born of out of copulation. Okay, they did not come from a father and a mother.
correct.
They just appeared. So that is what I think. My guess is that that is your Deva Yoni.
Mm.
You know, when you come from a father and a mother, then there are genes which come from both sides, and then you are restricted by those genes. So there is a lot of restriction on you, while this Deva Yoni, I think, is a yoni in which there is very high independence, very high intelligence, and it is not limited too much by the body.
Mm.
Yeah, but it is still not 100%. This is a little bit of conjecture from my side.
Yeah, yeah. No, just I wanted to, the thought keeps coming to me is, the in a
Yeah.
soul's journey, is the human the ultimate birth, or probably I did not pay attention to the Manusmriti where it says the, Devayoni is this thing. So
As far as the worldly things are concerned, where bhoga is involved, Manusha is the highest.
highest. Okay,
These sages who are born, they are not much into bhoga.
correct. Yeah. Thanks,
So,
Krish.
most
Is there
welcome.
anybody in the world who is born like that?
Sorry,
Is
I
that
can't
possible?
hear you. Sorry.
Is there anybody who can be born like that in today's age and yoga with that buddhi, that prajna of those rishis?
So Swami Dayanand was one of those. You have to take it as today's times only. It is only 200 years back.
200.
Yeah, so even in today's times, if somebody puts in an effort, it is something which is very, very possible. See, any effort which you put for increasing your knowledge increases your brain, also increases your capacity to hold knowledge as well. So the more you, as they say, the brain is a muscle, and so the more you work it out, the more you gain. So you must treat the brain like that, and the more you work at it, the more you will be able to absorb and retain.
Yeah, neuroplasticity, they say. So we can be born also with that starting point where, the prajna is so high,
Yeah.
like the rishi. We've already attained something and the gyan is already there. And like how those prodigies are,
Yeah,
something
correct,
like that. Yeah.
I
correct.
think in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in sixth chapter, if I remember, like you can pick up from where you left off in the
Yeah.
previous birth.
As far as knowledge goes, knowledge is one of those things which follows you
Mostly
to your next birth.
Sukshma Sharira, right?
Knowledge of permanent things,
Yeah.
knowledge not of your who was your father, who was your mother, who was your sibling, but of more eternal things. Okay, so looks like we are out of time today. We had a very good
Uh,
discussion.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Okay.
Is there something called common knowledge, common feed of knowledge, just like a river through which everyone can connect? like Ishwar is always there. But I'm talking about a situation when, let's say, uh, chorus is sing. So you must have seen musicians doing chorus without any pre-practice, and they are just, kind of. It seems like their mind is talking to each other, like they are catching up the tunes, they are playing up, changing the tunes as if they are, you know, having a conversation with the mind. So,
I
how
don't
is
think
that possible? Like,
chorus is functioning without practice. Musicians between each other, yeah, sure, they can, because they have gone over some pieces so many times that uh, as long as they say that the singer is the main person who will control, then the tabla vadak and the sitar vadak will follow the person and they can fill in the gaps. But for choral singing, I have not seen, unless I mean that already.
I might be using the wrong term for chorus, but between, like, say, instrumental musicians, you must have seen a kind of a talmel that they get. For
Jugalbandi,
example, one
yeah.
is a sitar singer, one is a tabla singer, tabla musician.
So that is
Uh,
something because of experience it comes, because they have played it so many times, done that Jugalbandi only so many times that they just know it by that time. So it is more of knowledge only. It is not as if,
On
Yeah,
the spot also they can improvise quite a lot. Both
yeah.
of them.
correct. But that is also out of practice, like, whether it
Yeah,
is
all,
if
yeah,
it's a
all,
percussion, they
Yeah.
have
yeah.
the beat. If it is any other instrument, they
but the
have the
practice also
ragas.
have to have some base, like how they are
Like,
able to interpret
right.
each other's movement or
Right,
each
like
other's.
for percussion, you have a beat, right? They go by
Yeah.
the beat, the talam.
And they know
Whereas
the basic ragas.
for the instruments, other instruments like the string instruments or the singing and all, you have the ragam. In that ragam, what all the,
Roots.
yeah,
Roots are there.
So you
yeah.
can
So
put it
you know
together.
And
that,
their
and then
combination.
it is a jumble of that only, and the combination and the jumble of those, sa, ga,
So
ra, and all
to
of that.
give something in your lingo, Ronak,
Hmm.
if you are a very experienced chartered accountant, then you will just look at the figures and you can point out errors. uh, it will seem as if you are doing it by magic, but it is actually not by magic. It is coming from experience because you have looked at the figures so many times that you have become an expert at finding out the problems within them. It's like a chess player, Vishwanathan Anand, when he sees the board, the whole board makes a certain pattern in his head. So similarly, a chartered accountant makes a pattern of all the figures in his head, and he can tell you where the pattern is. There is a problem. So similarly, a musician also, they also form patterns in their heads, and those patterns then they are able to replicate. To you, it may seem like magic, but it is not. It is a matter of practice. But if you
Hmm.
had to really speak of common knowledge, which I don't know what you meant by common knowledge, but if we take it as something which is known to all, then instinctual behavior is part of that common knowledge, which kind of God builds in with a particular body. So, a bird will know what it has to eat, even if its parents teach it or not. And so, similarly, human beings have a lot of behavior which, even if you put them in the wild, they will do whatever human beings do. So there is some instinctive behavior which is built into the system by God itself himself.
Okay.
Okay, let us do our Shanti part now. Om Yate Rudra Shiva Tanur
Om
Om
Yate
Yate
Rudra Shiva Tanu
Rudra
Aghora Papa Kashini
Aghora
Aghora Papakashini
Ayanastanva Shantamaya
Dayanasthanva Shantamaya
Dayanasthanva
Girishanta
Girishanta Bhijakashihi
Girishantabhijakashihi.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti
Shanti Shanti
Shanti Shanti.
Shanti
Thank you.
Thank
Namaste,
you, Drag.
Dhanyavad, Taraji.
Namaste. Thank you.
To all.
Thank you all.